My fellow South Africans, should the Minister of Police and the South African Police Service fail to arrest former President Jacob Zuma before midnight tonight, this will not only place him in contempt of a constitutional court order, but will thrust South Africa into a constitutional crisis, the likes of which we have never seen before. We need to realize that the principle of the rule of law, upon which our entire democratic society is founded, now hangs in the balance. It is simply unprecedented for a state attorney to send a letter on behalf of the Minister of Police to the country's apex court to second-guess its ruling. When a country's chief law enforcement disobeys its highest court to side with one individual, it renders null and void the entire judiciary and the work undertaken by every lawyer, advocate, and judge across South Africa. To put it into perspective, the textbook definition of this type of behavior is a military coup. The only person tasked with publicly defending and upholding the rule of law, which now once again hangs by a thread at the hands of Jacob Zuma, is the President of the Republic of South Africa. So where is President Ramaphosa? And why has he not denounced the actions of his compatriots, party members, and his own cabinet ministers, which now threaten to collapse the very foundation of our democracy? Our country is on the verge of absolute crisis and judicial anarchy, and both the President and the Deputy President are missing in action, and nothing has been said to address the imminent threat of constitutional collapse. President Ramaphosa, you cannot remain silent while Jacob Zuma makes a mockery of the judiciary and your lockdown regulations. You cannot think that you can absolve yourself of responsibility in a matter that you, your party, and your cabinet have for years failed to address. This is not a Jacob Zuma problem. This is an ANC problem, one which has plagued your organization and the government of this country for far, far too long. While the ANC is evidently in support of the former president, the DA calls on President Ramaphosa to remove his ANC hat and to put on his presidential robe before South Africa descends into a full-blown constitutional crisis. As the leader of the opposition, I have today written to the Speaker of Parliament, requesting an urgent debate of national importance on the constitutional crisis unfolding before our very eyes. Parliament must hold the President and his ministers accountable for failing to enforce the law over the past week. This includes a failure to enforce lockdown regulations on those who gathered to support Jacob Zuma at the weekend. We have witnessed peaceful protests by restaurant workers and SASSA grant recipients being met with water cannons and police brutality. Collins Causa lost his life at the hands of these same people. Yet the police stand back for Jacob Zuma and his supporters when they gather en masse outside in Nkandla. When will the President ensure that the ANC and its supporters are governed by the same laws as the rest of us in South Africa? When will you, Mr. President, take responsibility for your own party and your government? The ball is now in your court, Mr. President. Now is the time to speak up, or forever be complicit in the crisis that lies at your feet and that could tear our country apart. You cannot run away from this. On behalf of every South African, I call on you to speak out, and speak out now. Our democracy is worth defending, and our country is worth the fighting for.